Jacksonville to take the ACT. I thought I was going to college, and of course he was, and I had some scholarship offers, and you had to score so high on the ACT to get in certain schools. Well, I had one from the Naval Academy, and you had to score 19 or 20 to get in the Naval Academy. Now, you could score 12 or 13 to get in anywhere else, but the higher the school was, the higher you had to score.
Yeah.
So I had a 19, and 25 was perfect back then. So I studied a lot. So I qualified for that because of the study. Now, if any of y'all's ever took that, y'all, you know what I'm talking about. We got there that day, and we sat down. Of course, he sat next to me. And, you know, we was at Jackson somewhere, one of the buildings over there. And so when I got through, and, you know, you do them in parts. You got so long to do it. All right? When I got done, he said, "Let me see your paper." I said, "Today is Judgment Day." I said, "Today is Judgment Day. All them years you've been copying my paper, you hadn't learned not one thing." I think he made 11 or 12 on his ACT test, if that tells you anything, and probably a 5th grader now can make that much. But I said, "Your day is caught up with you." I said, "None of these tests are the same." So he had heard somebody say, if you don't know what it, A, B, C, D, E, F. That is it C or D? You can go down the middle and get so many of them right. And he just started going down the middle and went down that book and marked all them. All right? That's the same way about this book. You got to study it. Now, I know you hadn't, you know, they said, Paul, one time, much learning made you mad. I mean, that statement was in the Bible. Much learning made you mad. Well, I don't think you learn too much about the Bible, okay? Yeah. All right, so we got to rightly divide. Study, read, search it. Diligently search it. All right? So, and that's the only way that you can learn the Bible. All right? Now, the Bible, the Scriptures are revelation from God. Everybody understand that? Yeah. Holy men of God wrote as they were moved by the Spirit of God. Right. In other words, God spoke it, the Spirit gave it to them, and they wrote it. All right? Now, they were given to us in piecemeal. All right? Now, what I mean by that, He didn't give it all at one time. You see what I mean? And the Bible is a progressive book. When you start in Genesis, it's progressive and it's divided. In other words, that's easy to see. And God, back in my early days and some of the older preachers' older days, they would never talk about prophecy. They said, you can't preach on the second coming, and you can't preach on the rapture, and you can't preach out of Revelation because nobody understands it. I said, well, you know, I've been reading, and it's the only book in the Bible that says a special blessing to just read it. Yeah. Blessed is he that readeth. The only one in the Bible that says that. Yeah. So I just started reading it. Well, I didn't understand it all, but you know what? Every time I read through it, I learned more about it. Right. And the first time I ever run through, I was premillennial. I knew that we're going to have a rapture, and I knew there's going to be a great tribulation, and it didn't take me long to figure that out. It don't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. And you learn by God gives them light and more light and more light, and the closer to the rapture, the more light is revealed. Yeah. Okay? Everybody understand that? In other words, you say, well, what about all the signs? All the signs that's given in the Bible is pointing to the second coming. That's right. Not the rapture of the church. And you study that out, you'll find that to be so. There are no signs that point to the rapture. The signs that's given, that Jesus give and Paul give, are signs of the revelation. The rapture and the revelation are two different things. Okay? In the rapture, the Lord comes in the air, the dead are raised, and then we meet together in the air. In the Revelation, He comes and everybody sees Him. In the rapture, everybody's not going to see Him.
That's right.
See, you got to know how to rightly divide. Alright? So, everybody will see Him. That's when every knee will bow and every tongue confess. But we go be home then. We go be home at least 7 years. Now, the signs that they give were pointing to the Revelation. So, when you think about how close we are and how much light we have, there's not much else left to reveal.
That's right. That's true.
The end of the book is there. The end.
Yeah.
I think that's inspired too. The end.
Yeah.
And I've read all the way through the book. And somebody said there's going to be more revelation and God's going to give somebody else this and somebody else, somebody. The end.
That's right.
The end. Ain't going to be no more prophets. Ain't going to be no more. They said, show us a sign. Now, you don't have to worry about signs. We don't live by signs, we live by faith.
Amen. That's true.
I'm going to say it one more time. We don't live by signs, we live by faith.
That's right.
That's right.
And if you rightly divide the Bible, you say, but, preacher, all in the Old Testament, the apostles and Jesus, He gave them signs and showed them wonders so they could believe. But you know what John says about us? He said, more blessed are they that hadn't seen these things, and yet they believe.
Yeah.
I don't have to go to Israel and look at an empty tomb to know that the third day He got up.
That's right.
Amen.
That's right.
I know He's alive and well.
Yes.
I talked to Him many times
Yeah.
today. He's still there.
Yeah.
You say, well, I don't know He's there. Well, you must not be talking
That's
to
right.
Him.
Amen.
You know, when He has something to say to us, you know what He'll use? That book.
Amen.
He said something to a lot of folks here this morning. Y'all thought y'all had that head, but He unjumbled it up. And man, He took the dirt off of it. You think, well, that'll go away. He reveals them little things to you.
Yeah.
He does me the same way. Don't feel bad. I have to study all that before I preach it. Again, you know, and it cleans me up pretty good when I'm studying. I've had to stop before and get down on my knees by my desk and say, Lord, help me. If I'm going to help them, you're going to have to help me.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So, it's revealed in piecemeal, like Hebrews 1:1. Sundry times and in divers manners. God spoke to folks in different ways.
Yeah.
Okay? He spoke. Remember old Balaam? Remember the donkey speaking? He can use what he wants.
Yeah.
Can a donkey talk? That did.
Yeah, sure did.
That well didn't talk, but he spit him up on dry ground when God told him to. Jonah knew what he was saying.
Yeah.
Amen. You didn't have to ask him. He knows. Them roosters, did they just out of the blue in the middle of the night start crowing? No. He spoke through a rooster.
Yeah.
And boy, Peter, you know, Peter, he got in a lot of trouble. Peter stayed in more trouble than I do. I mean, you know, I feel good when I look at him. You know, but he would do something.
Yeah.
He would say something. A lot of times it would, but I like what he said. When he said, Peter, whom do you say that I am? Boy, he had the right answer that
Yeah, he
day.
did.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, we can knock him. He had a lot of failure and faults, but he did a lot of good.
Sure did.
Out of all of them, he picked him to basically build the church on. He's building on him, but he was building on what Peter said.
Yeah.
So the Lord Jesus is the foundation of the church, not Peter.
Right.
Now some people say Peter is. We've got a denomination that says Peter was the first pope, or
Yeah.
whatever. I don't know everything about their stuff. But God, when you read the Bible, you see it progressing. Like when He starts in Genesis and comes through Judges, and comes all the way down. It's a progressive revelation. In other words, all my old preacher friends would be amazed today at what we know. Now y'all got iPhones and all that stuff. All them commentaries that I've read for all these years, and I'm about blind now, they're small print, you know, and it'll work on the eye. And after 40 years of that, it's worked on mine. But now y'all pull it up on the computer. I mean, y'all pull it up on your phone. You know, books that I give thousands of dollars for, y'all get for free. I mean, you pull it up and let them explain ever what part you want, any commentary you want. But I use books. So God is progressive. All right, now let me give you a good example of that. I'm going to have to hurry. A good example of that. All right, now Daniel, when you read the book of Daniel, and you get over there in the last chapters, he tells Daniel something. He said, Daniel, seal up the things in this book. In other words, the rest of this is going to be sealed.
Yeah.
Now listen to me. In the Old Testament, they didn't know nothing about the church.
That's right.
Everybody on that page,
That's right.
you understand that? The church wasn't in the Old Testament.
That's right.
The church wasn't birthed to Pentecost.
That's right.
This is yes. Yeah. Everybody understand that?
Yeah.
That's simple stuff.
Yeah.
But if you don't understand that simple stuff, and you take the church, and you move it over in the Old Testament, and try to mix that together, you all messed up.
Yeah.
That's right.
I mean, you just messed up. It wasn't the church, it was Israel. It was a covenant with Abraham that God had, and He dealt with them. Now, let me say one thing. There's types and shadows in the Old Testament.
Yeah.
Everything that happened there relates, and you can see, like the tabernacle. It all points to Him.
Yeah.
But to them, that was what they did. That was their way of worship. When
Yeah.
they worshiped, they brought a sacrifice.
Yeah.
And God wasn't doing away with sin. It was just being taken care of from one year to the next.
That's right. Amen. See it.
Every year He had to go back there and do it again.
Yeah.
I'd hate to have I wouldn't want to be that high priest, Rob.
That's right.
Amen.
Sure.
Now listen to me. If that high priest had any sin at all before he went back there, God would kill him.
Yeah. That's right.
Now you just think about it.
Yeah.
You going back there and you go make a sacrifice not only for yourself, but for the whole nation. That's the sins of everybody.
Yeah.
And He had to make that. And He had to be right down. And God said, you don't come back there clean, and you don't come back there without sin. In other words, that points to Christ.
Yeah.
Now that man, we know he's a man.
Yeah.
Well, naturally he's what? Got sins.
Yeah.
But He would put that sin off from one year to the next. He wouldn't do away with it. He'd just cover it.
That's
Huh?
right.
All right, now, progress. All right, so you got the Daniel. And Daniel sealed the book up. Well, why didn't God reveal the church and the rapture to somebody else in the Old Testament? Because it wasn't time.
That's right.
That's right.
Because the Apostle Paul, he revealed it to him. Now, he didn't reveal it in the Gospel.
That's right.
This is yes.
Yeah.
Y'all know that much.
Yeah.
He didn't reveal it to them. The only two times that Jesus mentioned the church, when He talked to Peter that day, and upon this I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against us. And then the second time, y'all like this one. Some of y'all old timers, you remember church discipline? We don't have that no more in the Baptist church. You know, that's outdated. We don't discipline members anymore. But for you younger folks, they used to discipline members.
Yeah.
If you've done something publicly, somebody would come see you.
That's right. Sure would.
And I asked Brother Urban Renfro one day, that was my thing. I said, why don't we do church discipline anymore? Jesus talked about it in the Bible. I mean, it's plain as day.
Yeah.
And that's how they discipline folks. You know, if they won't hear the church, then they go have to depart, you
Yeah.
know.
That's right.
And I mean, they used to do that. I mean, they'd call you hand, but, well, you know, we don't do that no more. We've got so sophisticated, we think we don't need that. And we wonder why the church is in the mess it's in.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, most everybody now in the world's come in the church.
Sure.
That's
That,
true.
the preachers and pastors, they want the word, they want the church to be sinner friendly.
Yeah.
Where is that in the Bible? I mean, how do you get that? We're not to be like them. Come out from among them and be separate.
That's right.
Yeah.
Don't be conformed to them. We don't have nothing in common with the world. It's just the place that we're in and the atmosphere is the only common thing. Everything else, we're right against.
Yeah, supposed to be.
What therefore I'm against. Huh? And you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
We all are. Read that sometime.
Yeah.
It explained that to you.
Sure does.
Somebody said, well, we got to be more like them to win them.
No.
All right? Show me that in the Bible. Your favorite preacher said it on television. Now show it to me. I want to see
Ain't there.
it. Show me where that says that. Show me that I have to change so I can win them to Jesus.
Ain't there.
It ain't there.
So right.
Jesus said to follow me, you going to have to deny yourself
See ya.
and follow me. It's going to cost you to follow Him.
Yeah, sure will.
And it'll cost you to be an old-time Christian in this
Sure will.
day and time.
That's right, it will.
Y'all think I'm old folk? Hey,
It's cost.
this flag stuff's got on my nerves, and these people getting down at the national anthem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bless God, all my family fought, and I had kinfolk that died so they could.
Yeah.
But if they ain't got enough respect to stand and take their hat off, they don't have none at all.
That's it.
They don't respect themselves, they don't respect
That's
the
right.
people that died,
That's
and
it.
I'll go further. They don't respect God.
That's right. Amen.
That's the first sign of
That's it.
rebellion,
Yeah.
is disrespect.
That's right. Amen.
They're disrespectful.
That's
I
right.
don't care how much money they make. They all overpay.
Yeah, that's right.
And if they wait on me to come to one of the ball games, they'd all go broke.
That's
Amen.
right. Yeah,
They pay me a dime.
that's right.
They paid money all the time to watch me play ball.
Yeah.
And I didn't get a nickel of it.
Amen to that.
And they pay them $20 million a year. We'll never live to see that kind
That's
of
right.
money.
That's true.
Or a bunch of overpaid crybabies. Huh?
Yeah.
That's all they are.
That's right.
Now, I don't usually mix ball and that, but that's just a good example that come out. I can't hit it. All right? So now, the patriarchs knew more, and then the apostles knew more. The apostles knew more because they had the whole Old Testament. Now, progressive, piecemeal, Jesus taught them in parables. He used an earthly thing for a spiritual meaning.
That's right. Yeah.
And he taught them in parables. And guess what? The religious folks in that day couldn't
right.
understand what he was saying.
That's right. Amen.
Huh? Anybody else could, but they couldn't.
That's right.
You know why? They're hung up on Judaism.
Yeah.
And they still on it today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nearly 100% of the Jewish people are lost without God.
That's right.
That's true.
How many saved Jews you ever met? Alright? I've been saved 40-something years. And I think I've met 3. 3. 3. Now, you say, well, are we a witness to them? Yeah. Jews lived next door to me when I was raised up. They were Jewish. When their kids graduate from high school, I'll show you respect. When them boys graduated from high school, you know what they did? Bought them a plane ticket directly to Israel. They joined the army and served 4 years and then come back. Because they love their country.
Yeah.
And everybody done their part. And every time them boys graduate, they's gone. When they get their time served, they come back. What respect?
That's right.
But God blinded them.
Sure did.
God has not done away with them. God has set them aside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you'll read over in Romans, you'll understand.
Yeah.
God blinded them so the light could come to the Gentiles, and we believe And the church is now what God uses.
That's right.
He set them aside. But they still don't believe.